Hey folks, it's Michael Collins of EnviroReporter.com. It's July 19th. It's about 5:30 in the afternoon. What you're looking at is a collection of dust that I've taken from radiation station's Honeywell barrel-shaped air cleaner, HEPA filter. This is just 3 weeks worth of accumulation up until this date. So, basically July. Now mind you, we've already tested dust out of the Honeywell and it's come up hot and given indications of fallout from Fukushima, because there's no other explanation for this kind of particulate matter to read hot. So what we've done here is we have vacuumed the barrel-shaped Honeywell. You can see pictures of it on our site, and I have carefully collected the dust and debris and smooched it down into this glass. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a 10-minute average and we're going to see just what this is. So let's fire up the inspector. Turn it on there. Get her going for 10 minutes. Now I'm going to drop her right down, careful not to get any of it on the inspector screen. Now right there I can tell that she's ionizing faster than typical background. We just took an exterior background here at radiation station. That came in at 42.5 counts per minute. We took an interior average, ended about 5 minutes ago, and that came in at 37.1 counts per minute. Now for you folks new to the site wondering, now wait a minute, do they measure radiation in counts per minute? What that is how many ionizing events are going through the detection screen of the inspector. Oh, we got a hot one, folks. I mean, look, we're about a minute out and we're already up to 86. Mind you, this is the last 3 weeks. In Santa Monica, where if you look at our statistics page, we have fairly low ambient air readings. And I can tell you that Denise Ann and I are very happy that we have HEPA filters in our home because we clean out the air. We don't want this stuff in our cells. But in any case, there are different ways to measure radiation. We're all measuring the same thing. Think of it as like, say, water. You could measure water and get a liter of water or a gallon of water, or you could get 2 pounds of water. Basically, you're all measuring the same thing and just using different units. We could use millirem per hour. You can see that that's on the cover of the inspector. Millisieverts per hour. That's on one of the switches that we could flip here. The reason we use counts per minute is because it's a whole number followed by a fraction. In this case, 37.1 being the latest 10-minute average on the interior radiation station. A lot of folks are uncomfortable with that. They'd like to see the actual amount. 37.1 counts per minute works out to be somewhere in the 0.012 to 0.014 millirems per hour. So you see, for the average person, it's a little easier to look at it this way. You might be able to hear the clicking of the inspector. It's a rat alert nuclear radiation monitor. Recently, we got a lot of attention for 2 hot peaches that we tested in a store in a spot check. We were on the Jeff Wrench show last night talking about that to some degree. A lot of questions about those peaches. Let me answer some of them. We were in a store. We were inspecting the store. Right at the end of the inspection, I was able to detect on these 2 peaches that had look like they're way overripe and there are fruit flies flying around them, and we came up with the measurements that you've already seen on the site. A little over double background, about 208% of background. Caused quite a bit of noise. But I want to point something out here. Those are 2 peaches. Now, how many of you looking at this eat peaches? Yeah, a lot of you do, that's right. But not all of you do. I can guarantee you, though, that all of you breathe the air. And this HEPA filter, this debris, it was pulled out of the air in just the last 3 weeks. The last 3 weeks, which were just like the 4 weeks before and the 4 weeks before that, where your government has basically said there's nothing going on in America and we have no need for the EPA to have special testing for fallout from the Fukushima Daiichi multiple meltdowns that occurred in Japan on March 11th, 2011. I beg to differ. Nuclear Regulatory Commission came out with a report last week where they said, and the Nuclear Regulatory Commission, or the NRC, they're the ones in charge of our 104 nuclear reactors across this country, 2 of which are in grave danger along the Missouri River because of flooding. They came out and said, they referred to the Fukushima ongoing meltdowns in the past tense. And they made the assertion that nothing would happen ecologically or to anybody's health, and everything was a-okay. Now, I'm an investigative journalist, an environmental investigative journalist, but it doesn't take a reporter to point out the common sense thing of this. When you don't know what you're really dealing with, and it hasn't ended, and yet you come to a conclusion about something as important as multiple meltdowns upwind of the United States of America, you come to a conclusion that nothing is going to get to the United States when evidence from Radiation Station and EnviroReporter.com shows you clearly otherwise. Just like, say now, we're little less than halfway through our 10-minute averaging. We're now over the average background radiation in Radiation Station at this time. So everything over here is coming up into the detector's detection tube and is a function of fallout. It's not a function of radon progeny after a rain. It's not the function of uranium or radium from the soil. It's not a function of fallout from nuclear weapons testing decades ago. This is from the 3 meltdowns in Japan that are now melt-throughs, meaning they've gone through the containment vessels in 3 of the 6 reactors. And now we learn a new word, melt-out, where once you've had your melt-through and that amorphous, gooey blob of radioactive fuel starts burning its way through the soil underneath the plant, gets down to the groundwater, hasn't done that yet, that's called a melt-through. And when it reaches that groundwater, we're going to see something the likes of which mankind has never seen. We didn't see it in Chernobyl. The molten fuel in Chernobyl during the Russian meltdown in the Ukraine in 1986, they managed to build a retaining structure underneath the plant to be able to contain that to a degree. Can't do that here. That's because the folks that decided to build this plant right on top of the Pacific, after shaving down a hill that this nuclear power plant could have been on, it could have been on a 15-story tall high hill. What they did was they shaved that hill down, they put these reactors down very close to the ocean, which is what made them susceptible to the tsunami which has caused this ongoing crisis, which of course is affecting the people of Japan more than it is America. The reason we're continuing with our ongoing coverage is because, well, I'm a reporter. Denise Ann is my online editor, and we're following major stories related to this, but we're also keeping track of the radiation in Los Angeles. And it's very important that people realize what we're dealing with. Now in Southern California, the jet stream has gone north of us almost the entire time since the meltdowns, last 4 months. However, where there's the jet stream, there's fallout. And the mechanism for that fallout to come down is generally precipitation. Rain, mist, fog, and snow. Now that said, when you look at our very well-created, if I may say so myself, statistics page, pages and pages of statistics showing readings of radiation here in Los Angeles basically bouncing around in a normal range, you will see variations. What this is showing you is even with a HEPA filter in your home, well, let me put it this way, even with no rain in Southern California, atomic particles from Fukushima are making their way to our HEPA filter. Denise Ann and I cannot stress enough how much importance we place upon controlling the air in our abode. We want it to be clean of radionuclides. Hence why, even though it's shocking to see these numbers going up, as you see right now, we're happy to catch this stuff before it gets to us. Now, here we are. We're at 663 counts per minute, when the normal background in here is 37.1. So I'm going to do the quick math here, and we'll tell you how much we're over. Okay, we're 78% over background. 78% over background, and that is debris that has been caught by one of our two HEPA filters, a Honeywell HEPA filter, ironically. 78%, actually 79% over background, and this is just 3 weeks of debris pulled out of the air during a period of time where there was no rain. Now, any of you who have been following our site and other sites, excellent sites like Anna News, you'll see there was a fellow up in Canada yesterday, measured the rain. It was 100 times the background of LA. We have a friend in St. Louis, Porter blog, P-O-T-R blog, all one word. He has repeatedly had rain as hot as 62 times his local background. One time it was 32 times, several times, 62 times. This stuff is going to get into the food chain, into our water. There are many things you can do about this, but doing nothing isn't the prescribed one. So thanks for watching EnviroReporters.com's Radiation Station on July 19th, 2011.